Today we wrap up our look at Psalm 1 with the final two verses that bring together the sort of two ways of life, or the two types of people that the psalm has been dealing with, the righteous way, or the righteous ones, and the ungodly ones, and brings together that sharp contrast and describes really their future fate as well. So let's dig in. Dia tuta uk anastasontai asebes in Chryse, ude hamarteloi in boule dikaion, hati genoske kyrios hadan dikaion, kai hadas asebon apoletai. Let's start with this dia tuta. This is a strong way of saying, okay, in light of this, because of this, referring back to everything from 1:1 through 4 that we've been building to. The asebes, the ungodly ones, there's that word that we've seen in the prior verse, which in Hebrew is actually the wicked ones. But that's a pretty fair translation pairing there. The ungodly ones, what will happen to them in light of everything that we've seen? Uk anastasontai, they will not rise up. That's what anistemi means. This is a third plural future middle indicative with that sigma and the ontai ending. So the ungodly ones will not rise up in Chryse, in the judgment here. In other words, that there will be a future general resurrection, as we see taught in lots of places in Scripture, but the ungodly ones will not sort of stand in joy at the final judgment. In fact, they will be destroyed, as we'll see. Then we have a nice little parallel here, ude, so nor. We're now seeing another sort of example of what's going to happen to this type of person. And here we pivot to hamarteloi, and this is the nominative singular, nominative plural masculine of hamartelos. It's the sinners. The anastasontai here is actually carrying over. It's playing the same role. They also will not rise in the boule. Boule here means council, typically. It's translating Ada, which typically means something like the congregation in Hebrew. And so that's a kind of interesting choice, but it's within the realm of possibility here. So sinners will not rise up in the council of dikaion. Notice that this is a genitive plural masculine. It's a substantival use of dikaia, so it's the righteous ones. So sinners will not be in the council of the righteous ones. And then verse 6 kicks off with a hati here, explaining why. And first we see that the Lord here, or Yahweh, genoske, this is a third singular present active indicative. He knows, he's intimately familiar with the hadan dikaion, the way or path of the same righteous ones that we've just seen. So he's very much familiar with, he knows, he in some sense endorses and is familiar with the way of the righteous ones. That's why they will stand in the judgment. But the hadas asebon, the way of the ungodly one, same noun there, apoletai. This is from apolumi, and you'll see that it's spelled kind of funny in the future. This is a third singular future. Middle indicative drops an L. You see a middle ending there with the circumflex. And typically apolumi in the active means to destroy, but in the middle it means to perish. So the way of the ungodly ones will perish. And so a very stark portrayal of the future fate of the ungodly ones in contrast to how the Lord knows. He sets his favor on the way of the righteous ones who indeed will stand in the judgment.